Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Hannah Johns podcast, where we bring people closer to the sport that they love. I'm Hannah Johns, and today I have with me here the GOAT of the sport, number one player, Ben Johns. Hi, Ben.
Hello.
Well, we have to talk about it. The news rocked the pickleball world in December. You and Collin would not be partnering up in 2025. And as a team, you captured 33 titles together over 4 years of play. You had a 75% podium percentage, and you ended 2024 as the number one team in the world. Why the change from CJ?
Yeah, obviously we played together for a long time, and it was certainly not a easy decision for either of us. There was certainly some analysis as far as our decreased winning percentage this year, and we made some alterations, made some changes, and ultimately, I don't think it was super about winning and stuff like that. It was more just enjoyment on the court. I think was a little bit lacking for both of us, and I think variety is really good and key for kind of just keeping things fresh and keeping yourself interested. So yeah, I think it was just probably healthier for both of us to get a little bit of a change up and maybe get some more enthusiasm for the game and all that going into next year. And that's not to say this is forever. I mean, obviously we still really enjoy playing together, and we'd like to come back together at some point. So I think it's more just like, hey, let's take a break, refresh mentally, and just kind of maybe even develop our games a little bit outside of playing with each other, because I think we certainly fall into our roles very specifically, and you kind of get set in your ways in partnerships. That's certainly a palpable effect. So I think there was a lot of good reasons to kind of just give it a try and go from there.
Yeah, like you said, nothing's forever. And you and Colin have had a longer run than most people know about. You've spent all your entire childhood playing sports together. You helped Colin train to play pro tennis on the tour, and then did that in pickleball as well. So you guys have had an awesome run together, and I always obviously enjoy watching you guys compete together. But like you said, this is not necessarily a forever thing, and we'll see how it goes.
hmm
But so the other bit of news that's sort of been rumored, and maybe you can confirm it for us, is that your men's doubles partner for most of 2025 is going to be Gabe Tardio. Is that true?
Yeah, I think there's still some more details to hash out. I wouldn't say my schedule's 100% set yet. I think Gabe had some stuff to work through with his contract and other stuff. I didn't really get into the details of it, but Gabe was certainly kind of my first call. I contacted him first and was like, "Hey, are you available? Do you want to play, etc." And he was definitely interested and wanted to, and he just again had to get some stuff figured out. So I think you will see us play together a good amount of the year. So yeah, Gabe was the first call.
Anyone else that you're thinking will be fun to partner up with in 2025, or you've got on the books besides Gabe?
Yeah, so I think Hayden's had some success this past year for sure. He's definitely risen a lot in the past year and gotten a lot better. I think he'd be interesting to play with. So I think we have one on the books right now, and that certainly could
Ooh.
increase. And then I think some people know my propensity for lefties and what I believe lefties are going to do for pickleball. So I did pick up a lefty for one tournament as well. His name's Max Freeman, maybe not as well known as most players on the tour, but I only had to see him play once or twice, and I was like, this kid's actually like really good. He's one of the lefties I've seen where I was very impressed, because a lot of lefties will fall into a role of playing just a lefty role. And it's hard as a lefty because you're always playing the right side, and your left side partner is occasionally taking quite a bit of court. It's hard to be an aggressive lefty. Sometimes it's hard to be one that can make plays and really be aggressive. And Max was one of the few that I've seen that actually does that, and I'm sure that's going to happen more and more. He's not alone. There's going to be a big following of that. But I was just kind of impressed with what I saw, and it's a big question mark because obviously he hasn't necessarily played in championship matches and stuff like that. But he seemed like a baller to me, and I just wanted to give it a go, mostly for to pique it piqued my interest, so I had to do it.
Yeah, we know how you like to do things that you're curious about to find out the result. But I didn't.
Mhm.
What is your philosophy on lefties in the sport? I don't even know.
I've said for years that just because the sport isn't saturated enough yet, where we don't have a big enough sample size of lefties that are really highly skilled, because it's only whatever 10% lefties in the world, and pickleball is already a very small pool of players and talent and skill, etc. We just haven't seen enough of them. But when we do see enough of them, I think every really good team is going to be lefty righty just because of the dimensions of the court and how you cover it. Really, just kind of how small the width of the court is. Having a lefty just is enormously difficult to play against and a lifesaver to play with. And it's only been held back at this point, I think, by a small sample size of lefties. Because if you look at the number of lefties in the game, there's really only like, I don't know, five or so that I can think of. It's like Pablo, Tyler, Rafa, CJ. I'm probably missing one or two. But even with a small number like that, they've managed to be in quarterfinals, semifinals, finals. And I think that is a lot due to being a lefty as well as being skilled players. So basically, I think the amount of them that are good compared to what the results are is it's a very clear indication that lefties are overpowered, so to speak, for the sport.
Wow. You didn't consider playing the right?
Nobody has, I guess,
I'm
nobody's
just
ever
teasing
given
you.
me a reason to play the right. I haven't played it since like 2020 with Matt Wright a little bit, and honestly, I always liked the right. I thought it was fun. I could be a little more tricky over there with the forehand off the bounce than you can from the left. But no, there just hasn't been an occasion to. So I guess I'm just doomed to be a one side player.
That's right. One dimensional. That's you. Okay, is there anyone, and this is kind of a funny question, but was there anyone out there where you were like, that is like the last person I would partner with? I don't think that would fit at all.
um, Unfortunately, I think it was probably somebody like JW, which I think JW is amazing. He's such a good player. It just goes back to the left right side roles. I was like, I don't think either of us can comfortably play the right. Like, I think he's incredible and he's a really great kid, and I like him a lot. But both of us playing the left just doesn't really work. So it's like, I wish we could play together. That'd be cool, but I don't think it would work. I think we'd just not be good.
I'd like to see the chaos of that kind of
I know.
partnership.
Yeah, I think I might end up on the right and just look completely lost, and he'd just be looking at me like, "This guy doesn't know how to play anymore." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know what to do. I haven't done this in forever."
Oh my gosh. But so why did you choose Gabe for the majority of the events? What was different about him versus the other options out there?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there is some analysis of, you look at players and like, oh, they look good or whatever. But how I do most of my analysis as far as playing with people goes is really just how difficult is it for me to play against them. That's usually how I just kind of have
Mm,
my best benchmark or measure of players. And I think in the past year, Gabe has definitely been the most difficult player for me to play. I think he just applies a lot of pressure. He makes people make errors. He attacks really well in so many different positions. He just reminds me of a right side, kind of the same philosophy as I play on the left, which is just apply pressure all the time and, make your presence known. And he does that on the right, which is even more rare than on the left. And so yeah, you can definitely feel his presence. He's a shot maker, and he's competitive. He's got everything you'd want in a partner. So yeah, it was mostly just kind of seeing him on the right and playing against him, just being like, yeah, this is kind of what I imagine. If I was trying to play the right, I would try to play like him essentially.
mm, got it. And was it at all helpful that he's a younger guy that you can sort of form with a little bit more or build a partnership? Because I know you really did that with CJ. And so partnering with somebody younger that you can sort of meld each other, around, is that also a portion of that decision?
I wouldn't say that necessarily. I think being young is great for a lot of reasons. Of course, you have energy, you have a ton of drive. You're just thirsting to get wins basically, which is huge. As far as kind of molding a partnership goes, I guess that wasn't too much of a thought. I certainly think it can happen, but I think he's done a great job of molding himself into a player that is desirable to play with. And honestly, I don't like to mess too much with what people are doing naturally. I'm like, yeah, we can work on stuff together and all that, but naturally, you've become a very good player, and you seem to be on a great trajectory to become an even better player. So, yeah, I'd say let skilled people flourish.
Yeah. Are there any adjustments that you're going to have to make, you think, in order to make that a successful partnership with Gabe?
Yeah, I think there's going to be some times definitely where he's attacking from positions that I'm a little bit unfamiliar with, which
Mm,
could create some new patterns. So just kind of getting familiar with his patterns of when he attacks and when I need to be more ready for certain patterns is going to be a little bit of an adjustment. I'm sure I'll still take a good amount of court at times, and I'm sure he's going to take some good amount of court at times. So it's going to be a little more probably actively shifting left and right, whereas usually I'm always kind of moving right. So yeah, there will be some movement dynamics that I think will change.
Hmm. And is this partnership going to be doubling down on that John's technical patient pickleball, or I guess you kind of touched on it? Is it going to more embrace that fast-paced style that you've seen teams like Alshon and Duong, that Staxford and Patrick have popularized?
Honestly, I'd compare it mostly to kind of how Annalie and I play, which is like
Hmm.
um, kind of a mix of both at times. I'd say definitely enforcing kind of the apply pressure philosophy and making plays at a lot of times, which isn't to say it's fire away, high, hard, early, and often. It's not necessarily a bunch of third shot drives with poaching and stuff. It certainly could be, but I think it's kind of a partnership where it's neither one. It's more um, matchup dependent on kind of what the strategy needs to be and adjust from there. So it certainly has the ability to be extremely fast and furious and attacking on all wings, and it certainly has the capacity to be slow at some points too.
Hmm. And I know there's been a lot of discussion about how the game is changing and evolving, and I know that you have tended in previous, times to prefer the old style of pickleball, but does this mean you're sort of embracing the new fast-paced game?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's really something that crosses my mind too much. It's more just like, you adapt with the game, whether you like it or not. You have to, whatever comes your way, you just got to do that. I mean, sometimes just based on, paddle technology and the ball and all that, the game doesn't necessarily shift a direction that I think is most entertaining to watch or most enjoyable to play at all times. But that's the way sports go. You're not going to be able to control everything, so you just adapt with what's thrown at you, and that's just all there is to it, really.
And do you both expect to start performing, earning medals immediately? Do you think that you're just going to overpower the field, or if not, how long will it take you to get to that goal together? Guess.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't want to be egotistical about it, as in like, oh, we're the best and we're going to win, da 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 da. It's really not like that, but it's always the philosophy of going in any tournament that, at least in the past, whatever number of years, that I do expect to win. So that is the expectation. At the same time, if we were to lose, I'd be like, it's a new partnership. It's not the end of the world. These things happen. I do remember like playing with Annalie for the first time after I asked her to partner up after playing with Simone for years. We almost lost in the quarterfinals of our first tournament. We were down like a game and like 9-3. And I was like, well, this is not how I wanted to start. Luckily, we did end up coming back and winning the tournament. And then that continued. But I just use that as just kind of like, this stuff happens when you're unfamiliar with each other. So it's not the end of the world if you lose. At the same time, of course, I'm expecting to do well and win.
And how do you intend to learn the patterns that work best together when previously your preparation, your competition was based around CJ's algorithms, the strategic planning? He's got that folder full of notes on every single, partnership in the sport that you guys use to plan. Is it going to be similar?
Yeah, I think it'll be a combination again. It might be a little more feel based. Gabe is certainly what I'd call kind of a flow player. He does what he feels is right in situations, and that usually turns out to be a good play. So you don't want to limit that. You want to let him kind of be free, and that's certainly how I've played for a long time as well. And then as far as kind of the strategic analysis, I think there'll still be a good amount of that. Of course, we're still going to be up against the same types of players, the same exact players in a lot of situations, and they're still going to have their tendencies. We're still going to have our game plan, so to speak. So yeah, it's a combination.
And then obviously it's going to happen. Colin's got more years on the tour. What is it going to be like to play against Colin?
Um, yeah, I mean, not too different. We've done it many times in pickleball. I think we've played each other at least, I don't know, 15 plus times in the past. It hasn't happened much in recent years. Certainly not in men's doubles. It hasn't happened much. I think the last time we did that was summer of 21 or 22. I think it was 22 in some kind of mixer event. So yeah, no, it's definitely happened, and it's not unfamiliar to us. We grew up doing it a lot, so yeah, I don't know. It might be new for fans. They don't really expect to see that very often, but it's not super new to us.
And you guys announced that you're going to be playing the Masters together as your last tournament. Does that feel special? Does it carry extra pressure with it?
Extra pressure, no. I think if anything, it's less pressure in a way. It's just kind of like, this is your last one at least for a little while. So have fun with it. I think the most important thing is to have fun in that last one for a while.
And then obviously 2025 is here. The season is starting as of next week. What are your goals overall for this year?
Um, Goals, honestly, I've never been somebody that believes in goals very much. I don't really have big overarching goals. Like this is my end of the year thing. I really just have what I call like mini goals or mini steps. You strive to do good things every day, and good things in your overarching goals, if you have them, usually end up happening if you're achieving the little stuff every day. So I just say do the right things, right little things, right, and good things happen. So as far as the little things. I'd say I'm focusing more this year on off-court training and nutrition. Um, that's a focus, and I just kind of want to experiment with that and kind of optimize it. Um, and then, of course, the goal is always to win as many tournaments as possible. So that's the second kind of thing. That I guess that is the overarching goal if I do have one. And the many steps to that are practice hard, train hard, start a new partnership, off court training, nutrition training, and that's about it.
All right. Well, it's going to be an exciting year to watch, a lot of changes, and that's fun for the fans to follow and to surmise about what the year is going to look like. But only time will tell. But good luck with everything, and thanks for the interview.
Thank you.